This week, a wee little gem. It's Toyota's Yaris ZR Hybrid. Have a look at it, what a little darling. There's just something about this car that is so adorable. It is just a little sweet pea, and you'll notice that they're now called HEVs, even the Toyotas, who spent a sizable chunk of advertising budget over the last 20 years talking about synergy drive. There you go, things change. This has got LED headlights, but the bottom model gets halogen, and we've got touch locking and unlocking. The on-the-road price for this is over $38,000. And that's an awful lot of money for an entry-level car, even a hybrid. So the real question then is, do you get your money's worth? Well look, yes, it's cute as a button. I absolutely adore it. I think it's a little bit more handsome than the Yaris Cross, which is its sibling SUV. But just down under here are a pair of buttons, one to unlock and open, and the other one to lock. So once you've got your groceries in here, you don't have to schlep around the front. And it gives you access to this very bijou boot. There is a small load space underneath. It's a double-story floor, and it's got a couple of positions that it can sit in. The seats are 60-40 split, and you'll notice that I'd taken the headrest out of there because the back window is really small. Normally I'd have gotten in the back to show you what the legroom is like, but let me show you why I'm just not going to bother. The legroom is non-existent. I wouldn't even be able to get my feet in there. It's barely a fist. And there's not a whole lot of luxury back here either. There's no vents, there's no USB. The door cards are just plastic, and the top is quite scratchy. I just don't think the rear seats are meant to be used by anyone but children. The front seats are about the only place where there's a little bit of space in this car, but look, it is an entry-level, tiny little city car. Oh, it's just shut off, telling me it's in EV mode. And I want as well, I'm not sure if it's going to come up, but just there you can see the head-up display and see the arrow saying Hammond. That's my Google Maps, which on Apple CarPlay now shows up on the car's system. That's new-ish. We've got a single zone of climate control, a couple of USBs in front, one for battery only, a conventional and rather cheap gear shifter. You'll notice that there's B, that's for regenerative braking, drive modes, traction control off, and you can put it into EV mode. And look at this, when was the last time you saw a conventional handbrake? I just want to also point out the seat fabric, which feels rather cheap. Finally, Toyota have attended to the door cards, which I used to think looked really horrible. This is still flocked cardboard, but at least it doesn't look like it. And I really rather like the red trim. At least they're having a whack at making it look a little bit posh. There's a couple of upper trinket trays, and you'll notice just down here, you may be able to see it on the video, we're getting 3.7 litres per 100 kilometres. There's not really a better way to put this other than you get what you pay for. Now, in my experience in the past, some of the highway features don't work when this is in B mode. Let's see if it does. We'll turn around and we'll get ourselves underway. Turning circle, surprisingly good considering this is a front-wheel drive car. And it does actually feel strange doing a car review, a passenger car review instead of an SUV review. I can see the directions up here in the front, which is good. The 85 kilowatt, 140 Newton meter powertrain is not going to set any land speed records, but it is surprisingly frisky. This is a lightweight of a car, 1100 and some change kilos. This is kind of picked up where the old Corollas used to be. And I mean the very old Corollas, the ones from the 70s and 80s. Look at this. Now, despite the torsion bar rear end, something I've never been fond of simply because to me they always feel twitchy in corners. If you meet an unexpected bump in a corner, torsion bar ends seem to be skittish, to skip to the side. This does feel rather planted. Now, as you can see from the schmutz on the outside, I've taken this on a decent run this week. It's at a wilderness adventure retreat thing. And there were country roads, dirt and potholed and all of this sort of business. And honestly, I really don't like the sound of 3-cylinder engines on anything but motorcycles. And I can see now that I'm not getting any directions, I'm getting a set of parallel lines up on the windscreen. And that's my ADAS telling me that, all right, let's just see if it does. Okay, so yeah, you cannot use cruise control in B, so let's take it out of B. The interesting thing was on the way back from that adventure course, my fuel started to run low, and I thought, no, I've got plenty of range to make it back. And I just watched it plummet from 248 kilometers to 20. When I filled it up, and I kept the receipt, I still had 10 litres left. Now, theoretically, that should have been 200 kilometres. I've just watched my distance to destination go from 25 minutes to an hour and 5. So I did have a clear run. Now, obviously, I don't. I've accepted a shorter route, which is going to take me off the freeway and onto something else. So I've got now the car sorting itself out, steering itself quite happily. The system is not as strong as it is in, say, the Koreans or some of the Chinese cars. And the best bit is I'm not getting any bongs. So there's a full suite of ADAS features, unobtrusive ADAS features at my fingertips. Blind spot warning, etc., etc. Now that's going up to 90. So let's just turn that up to 90. I've got my speed on the windscreen, the speed limit on the windscreen, which should change now, and it did. And I've got it on the dash as well. Now, not all of the dash is digital. The other thing is this screen does seem a little bit small, considering the opposition, considering that you can get a battery-operated Chinese car on the road for less than this. Admittedly, it's only a 51 kilowatt hour battery. I think the Japanese and the Koreans and the Americans and the Europeans, they've let China slide them by. They've not kept their eye on the ball. And the Chinese cars have improved in 2 generations more than the Japanese have in 5 generations. So in wrapping up, Yaris does what it says on the tin. It's a fun little car. It looks great. I do worry about the price, and I do worry that Toyota doesn't have anything under 20,000 anymore. Japan and Korea have both completely abandoned that market. They're leaving it ripe for disruption. And the boss of SAIC only hinted as much earlier this week, that the Chinese are actively coming after the Koreans, the Japanese, the Europeans, and the Americans. Now, up to now, one of the European brands said, that MG made great second-hand cars. And to be honest with you, those early MGs weren't all that great. But it's a very different story now. Very different story now. What I find myself thinking is this as good as the Chinese cars? That's all this week from Toyota's Yaris ZR Hybrid. As always, hit like, leave a comment, and just over there to subscribe.